Today we're going to be going over some different football terminology for beginners. Now the first term that we are going to be going over is something called your cadence or the snap count. So if you ever hear a coach say cadence, snap count, an announcer on TV say that, that's essentially what the quarterback calls out before the ball is snapped. So if our cadence, so let's say we're in an offense, right? And we're going over plays, going over concepts, and I'm saying, hey guys, our cadence is set, go, or our cadence is go, ready, hut, or whatever the case may be. That's what I mean by that. It means what we say to be able to snap the ball from the center to the quarterback and let the offense know that we are going. Now, snap count is essentially like we could go on like a separate snap count, right? So our cadence might be set, go, but our snap count might be on two. So I might go set, go, go, and then the second go is when the ball is snapped. So if you hear cadence and snap count, those are very similar aspects of an offensive formation. Now the second football term for beginners I want to go over is shotgun. So shotgun, so you have two types of positions to be able to take a snap as a quarterback. You have under center, where your center is in a stance. You're getting right up behind him. You're putting your hands slightly underneath his butt. It's a little bit uncomfortable for first-time football players, but that's just how it is. But you're catching the snap under center. That's what that means. Now shotgun is where you back up and you're maybe about 5 yards away from the center, and you're taking a snap. So he snaps the ball up to you almost like he's throwing the ball to you. Now, I want to talk about your stance in shotgun, or maybe a young quarterback watching this, or somebody who's not sure. So you see a lot of quarterbacks, especially in the NFL and college, have different shotgun stances. A lot of guys have their left foot back, right? A lot of guys are neutral. That's a little bit more popular nowadays. So you got like Jalen Hurts, who's insanely wide. And then you see some guys who have their right foot back like so. Honestly, guys, it really doesn't matter. It's all based on comfort. Now, if you're one of those guys that needs somebody to tell you, hey, do this stance, it's a little bit easier, my personal preference is right foot back. If you're in a shotgun stance and your right foot's back, let's say you got to throw a quick game pass to the left, set, go, one step, it's out. Got to throw a quick game pass to the right, one step, it's out. Let's say, you want to get into like a deeper pass, set, go, you just shuffle right into the deeper pass and maintain your base. So if I had to pick one, I'd say right foot back, but it really doesn't matter what foot's back in your stance. Now, if you're a quarterback or wide receiver, guys, and you would like myself to make a custom workout plan for you to do, what you'll be able to get access to is my personal email address, where you guys can send me film of you either working out on the field, clips of you throwing, game film, whatever it is, and I will take a look at your film. I will break down your film, draw on the screen, hey, you need to improve in these areas, and then I'll create a 2-month-long custom workout plan with on-field drills and gym exercises to help you out and help those specific aspects of your game. So if you're a new football player, this is perfect for you to get hands-on training, basically tailored to yourself. So guys, if you want some more information on that, check out that very first link in the description below. Again, very first link below for our custom workout plan service. Now, the next terms I want to go over are 1 high safety and 2 high safeties. So what does that exactly mean? Now, if you're an offensive player and you hear that, like, hey, the defense is in 1 high or the defense is in 2 high, that essentially means the number of safeties deep. Now, why is it important to know that? So let's say a defense is in a 1 high safety concept, right? So there's just one single safety over the top, everybody else is kind of underneath, right? That could tell you a couple things about the coverage. It could be something called cover 1 or maybe cover 3. Now, if you're a beginner, you maybe don't need to worry about that right now. You will have to learn that, but cover 1 is like a man coverage defense. Cover 3 is zone coverage, but you see that safety to give you the process of elimination, because you also have cover 0, cover 2, 4, 6, a lot of other variations of those coverages, but you see the single high safety to help you understand, okay, the defense is probably only going to be in these types of coverages. Then you look around like, okay, receivers are doing this, or DBs are doing this, linebackers, D-line, they're doing this to give you that process of elimination. Now, same thing with 2 high. If you see 2 high safeties, that could be cover 2, that could be cover 4, cover 6. Usually even numbered coverages are when we have 2 high safeties. So if I see 2 deep safeties, I'm thinking, okay, what are the corners doing? Are the corners going to sit in the flats? Safeties go deep, that's cover 2. Are the corners going to bail? 2 safeties deep, that's cover 4. So you look for that 1 high, 2 high to determine what the defense is trying to do. Now, the next term that I want you to understand is something called leverage. So this is going to be from like a wide receiver and DB perspective. So let's say the green cone is the line of scrimmage, and let's say my quarterback is lined up to the left, so to the inside of me, right? So a DB will line up in 3 specific spots. He will either be in like press man coverage. Now, also, it's not necessarily press man. He could also play catch man, off man, zone coverage, and show his leverage. His leverage essentially means where he is shaded and what he's trying to stop. So let's say, for example, this orange cone represents the DB, and he's there. So my quarterback's over there, the orange cone is there. Where is he? Is he inside or outside? He's inside. inside. So that means he has inside leverage on me. So if you ever hear that word leverage, that means where the DB is shaded. And he doesn't want me to go to the inside. Now, let's say the DB is right in front of me. That would be considered head up leverage. So he doesn't really have a leverage. Now, when the ball's snapped and I do a release, he may shade to the outside, which is outside leverage, or shade to the inside, which is inside leverage. Or he might just hold and give me something called like a two-way release where I could go inside or outside. Now, if the DB's lined up outside shade of me, what's his leverage? Outside leverage. So that just means he's trying to prevent me from going to the outside and force me to the inside. Now, the next term that I want to go over, and I briefly mentioned it in that last clip, is something called catch man. So there's two types of man coverage. Well, three types of man coverages. You got press man, where the DB is right in front of your face. Then you have catch man, where the DB is like 2 to 3 yards away. And then you have off man, where the DB is about like 6, 7, 8 yards away. So those are the three differences. Catch man is around that 2 to 3 yard mark. Now, why would a DB play catch man? So he's essentially trying to catch us and get hands. So since we have this gap of space, he's banking on the wide receiver, like giving a move and then trying to run around. But because there's this space, what can he do? He could cut off our angle and get hands and catch us, right? So as a receiver, what I have to do versus that catch man look is I got to close the space and turn it into a press man look. But if you ever hear somebody say catch or catch man, that just means when the DB is about 2 to 3 yards away. Now, the next term that I want you to understand is something called throwing the receiver open. So if you hear somebody say, hey, you got to throw him open, or hey, you got to do like, you got to throw the ball to a spot. You're throwing to a spot, throw him open, whatever it is. This is what it means. So like, let's say for example, we have a receiver running a fade, right? So he's lined up, he's got a DB, let's say inside leverage, some of the terms that we just discussed. He's inside leverage, he gives him a move and he releases to the outside. And that DB is right next to him, hip to hip. Throwing him open would be throwing the ball 10 yards in front of him, maybe before he's even looking, well, like 10 yards in front of where he's gonna be, I guess you could say. His head's down, quarterback has already released the ball, and he's gotta speed up to go catch that thing and leave the DB and separate from the DB. That's what throwing a receiver open actually means. So if you ever heard that term, just think of that fade route example and you'll be on the right path.